what can we do as artists and placing ourselves on the evolutionary continuum of inheriting the cultural inheritance and then passing it on to the next generation. I'm here in the Netherlands today, Rotterdam, to work on a collaboration with Droomtheater because we are both interested in the same questions right now. And those questions are, what is cultural inheritance? How do we preserve and safeguard cultural inheritance? And I come at this work as an artist and practitioner and researcher of Chinese shadow puppetry. And what that form tells me about the work is so many things. Is that he is right next to the paper, on it. Yes, like that. There you go. Yeah, perfect. The Chinese shadow puppetry is a 2,000-year-old art form that has been, for the last 1,000 or so years, has been the main form of transmitting oral history from the peasant class in China, which means that the non-literate population in China, which has been the majority of the people for thousands of years. And this live performance, which has no documentation, no way of archiving, they couldn't write things down, they certainly didn't have cameras or videos. What they could do is pass it down in live performance, embody those stories, pass them on to their villagers, their neighbors. And for thousands of years, generations after generations have been passing down stories as such. And so researching that and studying that work has inspired me to look to other places where as artists we can take those ideas, those principles, and pass them on to new communities who perhaps maybe don't have this awareness or don't know how best to go about identifying their cultural inheritance and how to enliven that within their community.
Mooi. Ja.
But we feel as theater artists working in live performance that in order to inherit this cultural inheritance through a live performance method, to also output it in the same way, because it's very, very different than all other forms of entertainment. Looking at the modern culture today, you can see most forms of entertainment that they encounter are very passive. So there's movies, video games, which could be seen of as interactive, yet there's no human interaction. And these are the things that are informing our children today. So we think that live presence of both human-to-human contact for teaching, but then also passing a story along is very, very important. And also that the students will embody the performance. So the story themselves, they're telling it themselves. That primary understanding, that primary contact to the story, to the inheritance is something that will make it a much deeper experience. Than, say, maybe watching a television show or a movie or listening to some music and letting it pass through them and then going about their day. This way they're actively taking part in the process.
We lopen achter elkaar aan, hè? Nekken. Boven deze lijn, boven deze lijn. Woem. Ja, goed zo. Woem, woem, woem. Woem. Want jij moet onder, want jij bent, ja, zo. En nou jij. Erboven. Ja, goed zo.
Another important thing to point out is that this performance is entirely multi-generational, and demographically it spans nearly every area of Rotterdam. We're teaching workshops in the southern area, the northern area, performing in an elderly home, working with schools. There are some neighborhoods that are predominantly with immigrant communities. There are some that are native to the Netherlands. So combining all of these groups of people into one performance, it's a synthesis of everything that makes up Rotterdam, the Netherlands perhaps, and puts it all into one live performance that is embodied and then will indeed be passed down. And also we felt it was important to engage those immigrant communities because many times when I'm working also with immigrant communities in my hometown of Minneapolis, Minnesota in America, many of those cultures that are not Western have been predominantly an oral history, the orality of passing down stories. So as the first place you would meet a popular fairy tale would be told by your grandparents, not from a book. And that's a very important difference, the way we process, the way we take in our stories and the way we pass them down. And when that changes, when something's an oral history and it changes into a literary history, something that's lost in translation. So we're sort of bringing it back in a way, if you would. We're here today doing really interesting work, doing workshops that teach the kids every part of the process, making and designing puppets, performing with them, and also working on a story that has content that's relevant to their cultural inheritance. And so I'm here to help with the workshops. We're making puppets together in a very Chinese style. Aesthetically, they might not look Chinese, but they're actually engineered to be they're very Chinese. The colors, the use of translucent shadows with colors is very a signature of Chinese shadow puppetry. And then, of course, content. So the way we're making these performances and the way it'll be performed is very Chinese. I'm very, very proud to be a part of this shadow puppet revolution that's starting right here and right now in Rotterdam.